Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm John Harcar, and I'm here today with Matt Williams. And what we're going to be talking about is maximizing deals and our profit and maximizing leads. Remember, guys, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and really all real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x your business. And we do that by providing tools and resources to build the business you want and live that life you want to live. So, Matt, welcome to our show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, John.
Yeah, good. I'm definitely excited to talk about maximizing profits, and I think maximizing leads more. I think that's super important because that's the front end of your funnel. But before we get into a lot of that stuff and get into the weeds, tell us a little bit about yourself, right? How you got into real estate, how you got here, etc.
Right, yeah. Well, when I got out of the Army, I got into real estate in 1999. I started out as a mortgage broker, and that transitioned into doing investing, flipping houses, even starting to build some houses. Did a variety of things in real estate. 2008 hit, and my business slowed way, way, way down. Wouldn't say that we stopped entirely, but just it was a very slow time there for a little bit.
Pull back on the reins a lot.
Yeah, really pull back on the reins. That's exactly right. And then I had the opportunity to get into the seminar space, the real estate seminar space, real estate education, coaching, training, and was asked to be a 3-day speaker for a variety of brands that I'm sure your audience has all heard of at one point or another, and did that, so traveled all over the U.S. and even Canada a lot, did that for about 11 years. And at the same time, had my own real estate investment business that I was running on a relatively small scale, primarily focused on fix and flip.
Okay.
And then finally, because I'm a single dad, decided the life of being on the road, as much as I love being on stage, I love sharing my knowledge with aspiring and experienced real estate investors alike. I loved every single aspect of that. But it allowed me to build a huge nationwide network too of colleagues, so that was great. Yeah. But the real big thing was that I needed to be home, and so I continued to operate my own real estate business. Kind of stopped the speaking. I did a few gigs over the next couple of years, a couple times a year, very rarely though, and then a mentor of mine named Pat Precourt. Have you ever heard of Pat Precourt? Patrick Precourt?
Pat Precourt is one of the members of our Investor Fuel Mastermind.
Yeah, so Pat Precourt and I were talking about my business and the direction I was heading. I wasn't really having a great time with, and by great time, I just mean having a lot of fun with my own business. Yep. And so ultimately, Pat said, there's a guy in Seattle named Victor Rybachuk, and he is looking for a killer operator because their business has just exploded. He had been in business for over 10 years, and their business had just exploded. And so he said, Matt, I really think that there could be a unique fit here for you to join Victor and really help him continue to go to the next level and the next plateau with his business. And so He introduced Victor and I. We met for months and talked for months, and then ultimately I joined Victor and became his COO and have been with him now for the last year and a half.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
That's awesome. Sorry, first and foremost, before anything, thank you for your service.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, Pat is an incredible dude. I've talked to him I've talked to him several times. He spoke to our groups a lot. He's in the group, so then that's awesome. And I love that story. So, what were some of the challenges I think that you ran into when you first started getting into the business? Like, what are the things that you just said, hit walls?
Well, I always blamed access to capital, which now, as I look back in all those years I spoke, I am embarrassed to say that, but I always thought that was a big one. And then the other biggie was balancing. When I first started out, I would hire a general contractor, and they'd hire out the subs to get the projects done. Sure. Moving forward, as our business evolved, finally, I always tell people that I launched a real estate investment company, and I ended up owning a construction company. And right. So we ended up hiring just a few guys initially just to do all the demo, because we had enough projects going that we could move them from house to house to house. Mm-hmm. And just doing the demo, ripping everything out, just park a dumpster in front of the house, and then we bought a truck, then we bought a dump trailer, and so we're just, we would just keep the guys moving, doing demo from house to house to house. Well, then what was happening is our projects were sitting for too long once the demo was done because the contractors I was waiting on, and so finally I just said, forget this. And in the state of Oregon, where I was doing most of my business, if you flip more than one house a year, you have to be a licensed general contractor anyways.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just a unique rule.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
So if I already have my general contractor's license, I was already licensed, I was already insured, I was already bonded, then why not just keep growing my own, company here? And yeah, we hired at our biggest point, we had 14 guys, including one project manager.
Okay.
And yeah, that's what we did. So it was just the slow learning of trying to figure out, how am I going to scale this up? And that was the other thing I noticed, and that was a big learning curve for me. Before joining Victor, scalability was a real thing and a real challenge for me.
Doing it right is the big thing. I mean, people can hire and add all this stuff, but if you're not doing it right, it's just not going to be profitable for you.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
So when you went on the speaking tour, and there's been a couple times when I've spoke on some stages, and I mean, I couldn't do it as much as you just said you did it. That's nuts, man. That's for me. No. And it's not the fear. It's just, what did you normally speak about? Like, what is some of the topics that you traditionally, they brought you in to speak about specifically?
Well, so I was the 3-day speaker. So it was it was quite a marathon where you're speaking, we'd kick off the event at 9 a.m. and go till 5 or 6 at night. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every single place, every single city, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Jeez. And so, being the main stage speaker, I was on stage 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day for 3 straight days. Yeah. So the content ran the full gamut of how you determine your maximum allowable offer, how you look at and evaluate comps, different marketing strategies and approaches, how we work out our budget and our scope of work for a rehab deal, how you wholesale, sandwich lease options. I mean, over 3 days, I would cover everything.
Too, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah.
It's been a while since I've heard that term, the sandwich lease option. That was Joe, what's his name, wasn't it? What's the guy who always coached on that?
I don't know.
I couldn't remember. But anyways, okay, so you kind of did, in a sense, soup to nuts, right? From start to finish. So it was a big 3-day coaching program.
Yeah, Yeah, it was big,
Were
and it
you-
funneled into other coaching. Like one of the folks I spoke for the most was Tarek and Christina well, at the time it was Tarek and Christina El Musa before the divorce and everything. But
Sure.
yeah,
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Right.
mm-hmm.
Okay. So you were just basically trying to get clients for them into their coaching program.
There would be a team of people that would enroll people that would travel with me and
Got
work
it.
at those events as well, and they would enroll people into those environments. Yeah.
The table people.
Yes.
The table people. If you guys have been to some of those shows, you know the table people.
Yes.
Okay, so you were doing this and you're a dad, right? You have these kids at home and you're traveling too much.
Yeah, way too much. Was on the road too much. Needed to be home more. As I was missing a lot of games and birthdays and events, and just needed to be home.
So how did you transition that full stop of stage life to getting back into, I assume you're probably doing flips again?
I was, and we were doing flips. I still have my business going
Oh,
during
okay.
that
So you had
entire
a kid.
duration.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's the other interesting thing, John. The dirty little secret I never told anybody, but I've been starting to be pretty transparent about it now. I kept a lot of my real estate investment business and the deals that I had going and was buying and selling and flipping. I wasn't keeping that going because we were having a super amount of success and we were making so much money with it. I was doing just to maintain my credibility when I was on stage.
Yes.
So that at any given time I could say, look, here's some projects we're doing right now. That's the only reason I was doing it. Yeah.
That's huge. Because you got guys on stage, you're like, does he really do it?
Yeah, exactly. And so I always had the social proof to prove that, yes, I'm in this business. I still actively do this business, unlike so many people you find in that space. And so that's why I was doing it. Now, the problem with that is then when I make the decision to stop speaking altogether, which is a loss of a significant amount of revenue, by the way.
Yeah.
When you decide to do that, now suddenly you have a business that's not built to sustain you, but now you need it to sustain you. Mm-hmm. Which was no big deal because I had a portfolio of rental properties. I had a bunch of things that I had just kind of pieced together that sustained me for a while. But at a certain point, and that's where I called Pat. I was like, Pat, I kind of need to figure out what my next plan is going to be. Either I need to just really dig in and explode my own business, which, in my 40s, I don't know if I feel like really doing that. Or I need to go back to speaking, or I need to decide what I'm going to do. And that's when he connected me with Victor.
Sweet. Mm-hmm. So are you still doing flips on the side, or are you and Victor just all melded your business together?
Everything, even my own deals that I get out of, loyalty to Victor and our company, and so that there's no conflict of any interest.
Yeah.
Any of my own deals that I would even get, we keep within our company walls. And so, and we do some flips, but not nearly at the scale or the types that I used to do. I used to do very large scale projects where, with $200,000 to $350,000 budgets on the rehab.
Are you focusing more on wholesale now, or you just don't have the cash to flip? What's the
No,
the
it's
block
not a
there?
cash thing. It's all about scalability again.
Yeah.
So our company primarily focuses on wholesaling and novations. We do a little bit of things what we call like wholetailing, or we do fix and flip, and then of course we do buy and holds as well.
Cool. Okay. What are some of the mistakes that you maybe ran, or you made, or maybe you see people make when they're getting into the wholesaling? When they're looking at properties, and they want to get into the business.
That's a great question. Well, one of the things, this one's going to sound simple. This one's going to sound so simple, but I said it for years when I was a speaker. And there goes my dog barking. That's great for a podcast.
That's all good. We can edit it out.
Yeah. I said it as a speaker, and it's been a policy and an experience that I brought into now operating this company, Legacy. When you're selling a property, take the first offer. For years, Now, look, and this is the other thing, are there exceptions to every rule? Of course there is. Of course there are. Right. Are there times that you kick yourself and said, gosh, we could have maybe made a little bit more? Of course there are.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
But history has told me for 25 years, think about it, I got started in 1999.
You got the experience behind you.
So 25 years has told me that I have been burned more often than not by not accepting, say, the first offer. And I don't care what your dispo strategy is, whether you fix and flip the property, whether you're wholesaling and you think you're going to get a bigger assignment fee because you had a lot of people that were initially interested, take the first solid offer that you get.
That's important, guys. Listen, solid offer. You're not taking like 20 cents on the dollar for something. You put some work in. It's a solid offer. But yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, there's still got to be a certain amount of viability to it as well, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, take the first offer. All too often I've seen too many real estate investors, get whether you're wholesaling or you're fix and flipping, and you've got it listed with a realtor on the MLS, and there's a lot of interest initially. There's a handful of offers, and they're all okay, and you're going to make some money and everything. But you think, you know what? We've had so much initial interest in this property. Let's just hold out. I think we can make a lot more on this.
Get 30 grand more.
That does happen from time to time, but experience has taught me that that rarely happens. And so consequently, I've gotten bit on that, especially around 2008. I got bit really hard where even going into 2009, 2010, where there were properties I really wish if I had just accepted that first offer, we would have moved on by now and we would have made some money on it. So learn that lesson the hard way. What about before they even got a property though? Like what if they're just like literally, just dipping their toes in the water? What are the mistakes that you see getting into? Maybe wrong, underwriting, stuff like that. Yeah. Failure in underwriting a lot. So one of the big things that I see, and I continue to train people on, is evaluating your comps. And it's interesting to me because when people are evaluating comps, they act a lot of the people that I've coached over the years, they act as if it's some sort of competition to get as high a number as they possibly can, whether it's an as-is value or an ARV value.
Right.
And this is not a competition, okay? We're trying to figure out what the accurate value is, whether it's as is or ARV, depending on what your strategy is.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is not a competition. We're not trying to get a higher number simply to justify the offer that we think the seller is going to accept. Yeah. And so I see that all too often. People getting into deals where they got in at the right price point or they're upside down, especially if they move all the way through to closing. And they learn that they're upside down because you just didn't accurately assess the comps and really look at the data. You ignored data that was right in front of your face, and you cherry-picked comps. So I see that a lot in an underwriting process, the cherry-picking of comps. The other thing is people drastically underestimate the rehab budget. Drastically.
They don't know what rehab budgets are. Yeah,
it usually stems because they don't have the experience necessary to accurately determine a rehab budget, or they've listened to the wrong, shall I say, gurus that say, hey, I have a simple spreadsheet that we used back in 1999. I have a simple spreadsheet that you can use.
Good is 5 to 7. Yeah.
And so, most of the resources I've found that people lean on that even, God forbid, they even paid money for, not God forbid. I mean, there's good resources and bad resources out there, but they are just drastically and very inaccurately undervaluating the rehab budget. That's another big thing in underwriting I see.
How do you propose someone learn how to do it the right way? Like, what are the best resources that if I've never walked a property, I don't know what it costs to flip a house. how do I find out the best numbers to use?
John, that's a tough question to ask because I haven't found a resource to me that, and it's not like I've been on an active hunt for it, but I
Sure.
can tell you when I was in the seminar space, the resources that I saw were, they could use some polishing. I'm trying to figure out the nicest way to say that. They could use some refinement. So
Right.
I can't say based on my experience there that I would know where to look. The other resources that I've seen have not impressed me. We feel that we personally in our business do a very accurate job, but that's based off of years of experience.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how do
yeah.
you guys evaluate a property? Like, what do you use as the general framework?
Okay, so we have two things because we have a whole acquisitions team, right? So there's a difference in the way that Victor and I underwrite a deal versus how we train our acquisitions team to do it. For our acquisitions team, we give them our own customized, built-out underwriting calculator, and based on a 1 to 10, and which again I know is a little hit and miss, but based on the condition of a whole slew of line items,
Okay.
it will then automatically calculate based on the answers to those questions what that rehab budget's going to be. We feel really solid about it. Now, I personally don't use it because and nor does Victor that much, because based on our experience and our years in the business, we feel like we can pretty accurately come to a very specific number on the rehab budget. But for our acquisitions team, we make them use the calculator.
Well, it makes it easier for them, and they don't have the experience that you guys do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
So you join up and you link up with Victor. How is that transition to working with a partner? Like what? I mean, I know that if someone's out there looking for a partner, you want to be someone you work with or or you're comfortable with. I mean, what are the things that are the most important, especially in a business relationship?
Yeah. So a couple aspects to that. The first is this. This was a unique situation for me because for the better part of 25 years, I've always been the person in charge. In my real estate business, I was always self-employed. In fact, ever since I got out of the Army, I've been self-employed my entire life. Yeah. And so actually being the person who's not ultimately the CEO and the ultimate majority member or holder, owner of a company, that has been a big shift for me. And I thought it would be way more challenging than it was. In fact, if anything, I've told a number of people this, John, that for me, I thought it was going to be a huge challenge not being the ultimate final authority and decision maker. And it's actually turned out to be a blessing, a huge, huge blessing for me.
Less stress.
Way less stress.
Less stress. 100%. 100%.
Way less stress. Now, the other thing, to answer your question, John, the other part of it is, and this is what took Victor and I such a long time to finally make the decision to do this, which ultimately was Victor's decision. I had made mine up pretty quick. We had to make sure that our core values were in perfect alignment, that our personalities were in alignment, that our strengths and weaknesses were in alignment. Victor and I have very, very different personalities. Now, if you do the predictive index, we're still both captains, right? So, whereas I tend to be a lot rougher with people, a lot more direct. I don't sugarcoat anything. And I also am a huge goofball, too. I'm to a point where it's sometimes inappropriate. Victor is the other way around. Victor is very straight-laced. He remains calm. He is very delicate in how he deals and coaches people and trains our team or if there's kind of, for lack of a better word, corrective action that we're taking with a member of our team, he's a lot more cautious about their feelings and all that. So I always make this comparison. If he is, have you ever seen the movie with Mel Gibson? We Were Soldiers. Have you ever seen that movie?
That's one of my favorite movies.
So Victor is Mel Gibson, and I am his sergeant major there, Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
That's the way we look at those two roles. Yeah.
Okay. And that's very important. I think two things, especially with partner. First off is communication. Right, it is having that openness, and then two, it's the trust. Right, it's to know that You have my back. My weaknesses are your weaknesses. Your strengths are my strengths, right? And work it together is what makes it succeed, right?
And Victor knows that. Victor knows that I have his back at all times. I know that he has mine. And, so there is a huge trust that's been built. I mean, think about it. A year and a half is really not that long.
No.
But we have built up a very strong relationship where there's a tremendous amount of trust. We knew our core values aligned from the beginning. And so that's made, when we go through the decision process, hiring process, anything, it makes it really streamlined because our values and our core values are in the same place.
Yeah.
So we're coming at it from the same perspective. But yeah,
That's huge.
so it's been an unbelievable relationship. Victor's done a number of podcasts too. He just did one with Brandon Bateman and everything.
Oh yeah, Brandon's part of our group too.
Yeah, so if you get to know, we pay Bateman Collective a lot of money.
They do good though. They're awesome. I mean,
our results have been good.
I've had nothing but good things I've heard about them. So
yeah. Anyway,
so what does your team look like now? I mean, like, what is it? How many folks you got? What kind of deal volume you doing, et cetera?
Yeah, so we are on track again this year to be in that 140 range on deal volume per year.
Let's go.
And that's every type: novations, wholesales, hotels, fix and flip. I would say the bulk of our business though is novations and wholesales, and kind of probably 60%, 65% novation, and 40 to 35% wholesale. Wholesale.
What's your average length of novation?
Yeah, we try and keep it to 90 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right on.
And then, but the turn time obviously on our wholesales is much shorter. It's more like 30 days. Yeah.
How big is your team?
Okay, so team size, we just added to it again. We brought people back on board that we had cut loose last year, and that was our cold texting team. And so we have 3 in there, and then we have right now 2 HBAs, or setters, if you will, in our acquisitions team. We have 3 director of sales or acquisition specialists. We have director investments. We have our transactions team, 2 girls in our transactions team, although we're getting ready to hire another one in that department, and then our dispo department as well. So altogether, I think we're in fact, we're actually flying a guy up from Arkansas next week to make another. We're aggressively hiring right now. So right now, I think we're at 15.
Right. So you bring in
our IT guy too. Forgot.
Okay, and you're hiring acquisitions guys.
We're hiring in our acquisitions team, and then we're getting ready to bring to hire another transaction coordinator, and the next hire after that will be director of investments, which is in charge of our transactions and dispo.
Nice. Well, if anybody's listening here and anybody's up in the Washington area, you need a job, good at acquisitions, reach out. That's awesome. So what kind of advice would you want to leave somebody with, right? If they're getting into the business, what's number one thing they need to do or look out for?
One of the things that they absolutely need to identify is the idea that you're going to be great at everything is a fallacy. The idea that you're going to have this big menu of areas of the business that you're going to specialize in, that's a fallacy. Figure out what your identity is going to be. Figure out what you are best at, and then just do that.
Yeah.
If I may, then as a side story, so we do some fix and flips. Victor, this has been a point of debate over the last year and a half for Victor and I. Victor really, really wants to augment, and he even brought on a new project leader, supervisor for our rehab deals. He really wants to take a lot more of the deals that we're getting under contract and do a lot more fix and flips. The idea or the thought is that we are leaving potential profit on the table.
Sure. Okay?
And while I understand that, my message, and fortunately he's just been super receptive and agreed, but my message has been, look, we have these things that we're super great at. Let's stick with that.
Stick in your lane.
Yeah, let's stay in our lane and do what we are built at and what we're exceptional. Let's continue to scale and grow the things that we're exceptional at, and not worry about the things we're not currently built for. And by the way, are very hard to scale anyways.
Yeah, right.
So
Exactly.
Yeah, which is what, some of the experience I brought to the table before I even joined them. That was a big learning thing,
Yeah.
So it kind of ties in the beginning of our conversation. I bring a little bit of that scar tissue to the table and say, look, I understand where you're wanting to go, but let's just scale what we're good at. So for any new investor, I would be like, look, I don't care what you're going to focus on. I don't care if you want to just wholesale, or you want to fix and flip properties, or you just want to build up a rental income and get a bunch of turnkey properties. I don't care what it is that you're going to do, but do that thing and do it well before you ever consider doing anything else.
Yeah, that's great advice, because a lot of people go and think they're, like you said, they see all these shiny objects. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Well, if you're good at everything, but what's the saying? Master of everything, good at nothing, or something like that.
Well,
good at something, master of nothing. Good at everything, exactly. Master of nothing.
Yeah.
But that's some good nuggets. And if you guys got some other good information here, I hope you did. Matt, I appreciate you joining us. If anybody wants to get a hold of you and talk about business, maybe they are a wholesaler in the Washington area or anywhere, and they have a house for you guys, how do they reach out?
Yeah, best things. First of all, I love getting more following on my social media. On Instagram, it's Matt Williams REI for real estate investing or real estate investors. So Matt Williams REI. On TikTok, it's Williams M. Hang on. Well, just look for Matt Williams on TikTok. I'm developing a little bit of a following there, pretty good following there. So,
I think you sent me those links too, so I can put them on the show notes.
And then I don't mind people emailing me, and that's matt@legacyonset.com.
Perfect. All right, guys. I hope you wrote that down, and I hope you guys, like I said, hope you learned some stuff like I did. It was a good conversation, Matt. You and I could probably talk for another 2 hours if we had the opportunity.
It'd be fun.
Yeah. And we can always do another one. So, everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Cheers.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.